Hi, this is Chris and Eli with Landlord Gurus. And today in this video, we're going to talk about what happens when your tenant moves out and it's time to start getting the unit ready for advertising and finding your next tenant. So it's the end of the month, and I know this is probably happening for a lot of people. It's happening for me at the moment. So yeah, Eli, when you get the notice that someone's moving out, what do you do?
Yeah, I'm going through this right now. So the first thing that I do once I know that somebody is moving out is to kind of prepare them for the process of getting out of the apartment, leaving it in good shape, and getting ready. And some of it's setting expectations that I'm going to want it really clean. So one thing I do is to suggest right up front that we bring in a professional cleaner. And I pitch it with like, it's going to be easier for you. You're going to be busy moving, and I'm really going to need it clean to pass off to the next tenant, just like I did with you. So how about I coordinate having a cleaner come in once you're out and make both of our lives easy. And I find that most times people, go with it. Because oftentimes it means that they don't go through a bunch of trouble to clean themselves and then get charged for it as well. So,
Right. Yeah, and so then the expectation is that that cleaning fee would be taken out of their security deposit.
yep. Yeah, I don't take a non-refundable cleaning fee the way some people do. And it's increasingly harder to do that with the localities setting limits on how much you can charge in combined fees and deposits. So,
Right.
and everybody, renters like up front when you tell them, all of this is refundable.
Right.
It generally serves them best to get a reasonable cleaner and just get it done. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Good.
So
So then, so then they move out, they've got all their stuff cleaned up, packed up, and they're gone. Then what do you do? Like I generally schedule a time to meet them, get the keys back, do a walkthrough inspection. What does that entail on your end?
I don't do that actually. I don't like talking about whether or not, discussing whether or not something is that I'm going to charge for or not. So I think it's probably a good idea, but to be frank, I don't do that. And generally it works just fine. So right after they've moved out, I go in and I carefully assess the condition of the place. I take the condition report that they filled out on the way in, noting any existing issues. And I complete that on my end to note what the condition is after they've moved out. I look at things, cabinets and drawers and sinks often that are not very clean, and refrigerators, and any one of those, or the top of the refrigerator is all dusty, any one of those triggers, if I haven't already, bringing in a professional cleaner, because it's just not ready. So
Right.
yeah.
Sure. And then you check for damages, and we have to kind of differentiate what is normal wear and tear and what is an actual damage.
Yeah.
What do you look for?
Well, the most common things are picture hanging nail holes. I don't charge for. That's part of living in a space. And I tell people up front when they move in. More and more commonly, I'm finding anchors, where people have hung TVs and that type of thing on the wall. And it requires usually a plastic anchor, that creates a 1/4 inch hole. And the worst of it is that it sticks out. So often people have spackled over that and it makes a lump. So I look for that. And actually a trick that I try to tell tenants when they're moving out is when they spackle, that they come back and with a wet rag and remove all of the extra spackle around the hole. Because if any texture and they put new spackle on, it just smooths all that out and it leaves this glaring smooth spot, that stands out. So anyway, I look for that. I look for any kind of dents or big scratches in the wall, and I take photos.
Scratches on the floor, etc.
Yeah, which are hard. They're hard to charge for because sometimes the only thing you can do is replace it, but you have to quantify it in some way.
Right. So you mentioned photos, and this is something that I think we should talk about when we move on to next stages.
Yeah.
When you have someone moving in. But a good practice, I think, when you do have someone move in, is to take pictures at the move-in inspection. So then when they move out, talking about today, you've got pictures that you can compare with. From when they moved in till now, and then you're taking pictures again that you can then show them. If there is anything that they question, you can show them the pictures before and after.
There's actually a real opportunity for boards and software developers alike for an inspection app. Z Inspector I used once, and it's basically a condition report that you fill out on in the app, and it allows you to take pictures. So it wasn't quite where I wanted it to be yet, and I'm keeping an eye out for a product that really does that nicely. So anyway, very good idea, and I'm hoping it'll get even easier, with technology coming along. So
Okay, so then once you have done the inspection and you bring in your cleaners or make any repairs, anything like that, then it comes time depending on where you live, there are certain rules about how that deposit gets returned. Some places it has to be done within 14 days or 21 days or wherever. Depends on where you are. And then, if you are taking anything out of their deposit to account for those repairs or cleanings, that certain places require you to send them a itemized accounting of all those charges. So that's something to consider.
Yeah, and I think that tenants are owed that. They should know what they're paying for, and should show them where the money was spent. So, but let me back up just a sec, Chris. Another thing I do with tenants that are going out is to ask them whether or not there are any maintenance issues that I should know about, so that I can take care of it between the tenants, before I'm trying to rent it. And so I try to address those ideally before the cleaner comes in, so that the handyman doesn't muck things up. But and then I have kind of a list of things that I've just learned over the years, are commonly need to be done. Changing the drip pans. I just changed drip pans between every tenant, unless they've coated them in foil, and I charge the tenants for that. Caulking at sinks and tubs and that type of thing often is kind of grungy, so I'll often have that replaced or touched up. Light bulbs, and you can charge tenants for that if they're out or somebody's put a red random light bulb in. And clean the fan grates. I had one other smoke detector and detector batteries, which you're required to do. And I mentioned to new tenants that they're then responsible for replacing them and not taking them out and leaving them hanging. So anyway, so those are some things that I commonly do before I bring the cleaners actually in, and those all need to be accounted for, as you mentioned, when you return the deposit. So
so then you've got the unit kind of cleaned, repaired, ready to turn around. Anything else that, we'll talk about what comes next as far as listing and advertising in a different video. But I guess, is there anything else that you might include prior to that step?
Prior to listing, take good photos for your listing. Once you got it all tuned up.
It's a great time to do it. Do a 3D tour or video or whatever. While it's in its sort of prime condition.
And there are all kinds of things to talk about on those subjects. So maybe we'll come back and do that in another episode.
Look for that in the future. But we'll wrap that up for now. Again, if you like this video, please like it, subscribe, send it to people,
share it.
And we'll catch you all next time. Thanks a lot.
Thanks so much. Bye-bye.